The Western Conference's number 6 seed, the Minnesota Timberwolves, take on the number 7 Golden State Warriors in the second round here. Game 1 tipping tonight. First time these two franchises have met in the postseason. It's also just the third time that the 6th and 7th seeds have faced off.
That's weird.
Last time it happened, 2023, not that long ago, when the 7th seeded Lakers knocked off the 6th seeded Warriors in 6 games. So let's break it down as we've been doing. Things to watch for, X Factors, predictions. TK, you can get started here. What's something you're going to keep your eye on? 6-7 Wolves-Warriors.
Is this going to be an Anthony Edwards series? Prior to their series against the Lakers, he told his teammates, be ready. I know they're going to come and double me. Try and make somebody else beat us.
Right.
He was prepared for that. Great playmaking throughout the series. I think he had 6 turnovers in round 1. It was a huge leap for Anthony Edwards.
31 assists to just 6 turnovers in 5 games.
If he does that, that's awesome. The Warriors, you look at who they're going to be rolling out there. They just do not have a great matchup for Anthony Edwards, which kind of is my second question. Who is Steve Kerr going to start in this series? Who is Steve Kerr going to finish with in this series? You know, Curry, Butler, Draymond, they're out there.
Yep.
Their most played lineup is Podziemski and Buddy Hield alongside those. That ain't going to happen against this Timberwolves team. Good luck with that. I think Jimmy is going to have to guard Julius Randle. He's the only guy in their starting lineup that has the bulk for it, which means it's probably Podziemski's, I guess, will be the starter for Golden State. He seems to be the guy, and maybe Buddy's the adjustment guy. Obviously, Buddy will have no chance against Anthony Edwards. Then you look at Ant's stats against Golden State this year, 26, 6, and 6 on 45, 44, 90 shooting splits. I think this could be a big series for Anthony Edwards just because looking at the schemes, it doesn't look like there's somebody who's really going to be able to stick him for Golden State. Gary Payton II, I imagine, is probably their best perimeter defender, but that hurts you on the offensive end.
Yeah. And Ant should have the size girth to handle Gary Payton II. It is a problem. I think this entire lineup of the Wolves is a problem for the Warriors, especially size-wise. I mean, they're too small for this Minnesota team. Butler and Draymond Green up against Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert to start. That's a size problem. And we saw what Julius Randle was able to do against the Lakers. He matched up fairly well with LeBron, and him against Jimmy Butler should be a good matchup for him. He should have the ability to see over the entire defense and make good passes because he seems like he's totally comfortable with that, not just making it a whole Julius Randle show. While Rudy Gobert also came through in round 1, had a monstrous offensive game, just one of them, and that's all you need. And defensively, yeah, Curry should be able to burn him. But he did a good job of staying down on Luka, not jumping, and when one of those guys isn't working, well, here comes Naz Reid. So they have incredible depth in terms of their bigs that the Golden State Warriors do not. And, yeah, you got to ask, who's Steve Kerr starting? You got to ask who's Steve Kerr bringing off the bench. I mean, Quentin Post will run out there as a big. But I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that they can handle the depth of those 3 guys playing extremely well at times against the Lakers. So I think that's a problem. Offensive glass, defensively, they had it all.
There are so many fun, just narratives surrounding this series when you consider Ant trying to take down another legend. Is he full Randy Orton here as the legend killer? Can he take Curry now and add him to his list of all these guys he's taken down in playoff series? Jimmy Butler returning to face a franchise he basically tried to burn to the ground. That's fun. And the one everybody likes to talk about, Draymond Green versus Rudy Gobert.
Oh, yeah.
Round whatever this is. Now, with Draymond, something to keep in mind here. He racked up 4 technical fouls and 2 flagrant fouls. Happy for Tass's team in the instigator draft.
That's my team.
Excuse me, that's your team.
Yep.
He did that against Houston. I bring that up because you get a 1-game suspension if you reach 7 technicals or you accumulate 4 flagrant points in the playoffs. So
that's what happened.
So he's got something to play with.
Yeah, it's right. It's right.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that.
He has some room here.
I thought you were going to say 5 and 3.
No.
Oh, then he's not going to be on his best behavior. I was like, how soon is this going to happen? The game where Draymond Green chokes Rudy Gobert was 1 minute and 43 seconds into their game. The 10th game of the season. It was the second game, oddly enough, of a back-to-back with Golden State. So I guess 49 minutes in. But if it happens after game 2, their first run-in, I will be shocked.
Yes, he obviously does not like Rudy Gobert. Remember when he was working for TNT and they announced the All-Star game, they announced Rudy Gobert not a word. He didn't want to say anything about Rudy Gobert. He didn't want to smile. So, yes, this is going to be a controversy. That is no doubt about that. I guess you'd think that he would scale it down, knowing that when he got suspended because of these flagrant fouls, they ended up losing the series against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah.
He was suspended for
Came back
Game
to
5.
bite him in the ass.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you do have to watch it. That's why I bring it up. Golden State did win the season series against Minnesota. They took 3 or 4 games, but I think all those games were before the deadline.
Garbage.
It was like completely different team before Jimmy and all that.
Doesn't matter.
Now Curry was a monster. Curry did play really well against the Wolves. I think he averaged 29 points, 7.5 assists, like really good true shooting percentage. So that remains the same. It's Steph Curry, for crying out loud. But I'm watching, and you sort of slipped it in there, TK. What type of Ant do we get? And if he continues to make, sharp decisions and sharp reads, and maybe the defense sort of does load up on him still, like we saw the Lakers do, can those other guys come through? Because they were instrumental in winning that series. You had the Jaden McDaniels game. He actually had 2 of them. He had a great game 1. He had a great game 3. Naz Reid was huge in game 1 too. Then you had Randall with 25 in game 4. That was awesome to help out the crazy good Ant game. And then you said Rudy Gobert had the game of his life in game 5, 27 and 24. So those guys, I mean, I think they're going to have to do it obviously 3 or 4 times. There's going to have to be the complimentary star guy to go alongside Anthony Edwards. And I can't wait to see who it is and whether it changes like it did in that last series, sort of from game to game. Mm-hmm. X factors. Who you got sort of circled here?
I'm looking at the Wolves bench because it has so much frickin' depth, because those 3 guys coming off the bench can start for so many teams in this league and just keep coming through. The main one, though, besides Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Naz Reid, who's going to be so big, is Dante DiVincenzo. I think he is going to be good against his former team, a guy that he learned how to shoot the ball from in Steph Curry. He became a shooter after being beside Steph Curry. And I don't like season series all that much, but he is pretty good against this team. The last 2 games, when he started to become Dante DiVincenzo again, that we saw with the Knicks, it took him a while this season.
Yeah.
But he had 28 in the last game they played, 19 the game before that. So I think the depth is very important in this series, and he is a big part of that. And he's going to get looks. I feel like it's just going to be hard to scramble against this Wolves team, because I do think Anthony Edwards is going to find all these guys again. He ain't dying. I think he's got another series in him. So, yeah, Dante will score, no doubt.
Who do you got?
I'm in a role player sense, the Warriors need random dudes to show up. That's how they won their first series. Gary Payton II helped close out game 1, had a couple of nice layups off of double teams on a Steph Curry pick and roll, went to the hoop and scored. Game 3, they win. Buddy has 16 points. GP2 has 17 points. Game 4, Buddy 15, Quentin Post 13. Game 7, of course, Buddy goes insane. 33 points on 9 threes for the win. So they need to get some dudes having random games. They need a good Jimmy Butler series for the entirety of the series. Curry has to represent for all of us millennials who don't want to see our era completely swept by the wayside. Yeah. For the Timberwolves, it's offensive rebounding. That is going to be a huge bellwether for them. They were second in offensive rebound rate against the Lakers. You look at what the Warriors did. They were last in defensive rebounding rate against the Houston Rockets, who played gigantic dudes. Şengün was big, but Steven Adams is the greatest of all time offensive rebounders. Gobert's not quite at that level.
No.
But he ain't no slouch. He had 7 in game 4, 9 in that game 5 dominating victory. So you hear Brian Windhorst say it all the time, no rebounds, no rings. I think that's a Pat Riley saying, how are the Warriors going to be able to rebound against a team very similar to what we saw in Houston? They've got a great defense. We know they're going to play 2 bigs at times. Yeah. We know they're tough on the glass. How does Golden State take that away?
To go back to Buddy Hield, I mean, even as that first round developed, I thought you started to see Steve Kerr sort of opt for Buddy Hield shooting over Moses Moody and his defensive, acumen as the games went on. And it was like, oh, let's go with Buddy. And the numbers back it up. I mean, in games where Buddy played fewer than 20 minutes in that last battle, they went 1-3. And he shot poorly, and he barely shot at all in those games. The ones where he played 29 or more minutes 3 times in that series, he averaged nearly 22 points per game. He shot 17 of 31 from deep. Buddy is the ultimate X factor here, I think, especially when you get into closing games and just how much he can stretch the floor. And they won all 3 of those games. So for me, I have him for the Warriors X factor.
And he shut down Jalen Green.
I was going to say, and he started to play some defense as well. Yeah, he did.
Well,
he did. Steve Kerr
the
came
Timberwolves
out.
are better on offense.
Yeah.
I mean, Jalen Green was maybe the worst player in the first round.
Yeah.
Part of that credit goes to Buddy, and part of that goes to Jalen
Yeah.
Green, probably more so to Jalen Green. I think Buddy has a tougher ask this time around.
Yes.
Yeah. He just played one great game. I mean, defensively, but he did set the tone, as Steve Kerr said.
Yeah, for sure.
He
He cares. He cares, but that's why Kerr was able to play him. He's like, we are not worried about the perimeter players for the Houston Rockets. We can get away with playing Buddy Hield on their leading scorer.
Yeah, Buddy came through. Not only did he come through in that game, but then he has an offer, and Steve Kerr sticks with him. Why? Because it worked. I mean, Steve, to see Buddy ride that roller coaster in one series, you wouldn't expect that. You wouldn't expect a guy who basically was unplayable last year with the Philadelphia 76ers. So that was a very, very good performance. They will be key. So many guys on that team.
And for the Wolves bench, I mean, like, I have a lot of confidence in Naz Reid. I think you're right about Dante DiVincenzo and how well he's looked at times against them in this battles against the Golden State Warriors. But Nickeil Alexander-Walker, we're through 2 postseasons now, and this guy can't shoot. He can't score. He does a lot of other really important things, which is why if he could just hit a shot, it becomes like such a game changer, such an X factor. He's shooting 34% from the field and under 28% from 3 in 2 postseason runs now. Again, you got to play the guy because of, obviously his length on the perimeter and his defensive hustle, and makes the smart plays, but you got to shoot. And like the Warriors more than anyone, they like, oh yeah, we'll exploit that. Like, until we see it, until you can hit a wide open 3, we'll leave you. And we'll have Draymond roaming, and we'll clog up everything we can to try and put bodies on Ant and stuff like that. So I think it's important when he gets his minutes that he actually can try and hit some shots here, and at least in regards to them winning. Prediction. Trey, get us started. Where are you going? Wolves, Warriors.
I love all the connections that you mentioned. Draymond versus Gobert, Jimmy Butler versus starters and Minnesota fans. It's going to be quite the reception for him. And then, of course, Steph Curry playing against the team that passed him in the draft 2 times. He's beaten all the other teams that have passed him in the draft. Hasn't yet faced the Minnesota Timberwolves. We'll see how it goes. But looking at the whole series, I think Minnesota is so similar to Houston, who gave the Warriors a ton of problems, but Minnesota is more experienced. They're a little bigger. They're a lot better. And they have Anthony Edwards. So I'm going with the Timberwolves in 6 for this one.
Okay. They also have home court advantage, of course, though maybe that doesn't matter in this round, and rest advantage here, too, with obviously the Warriors playing at Game 7.
Yeah, the Warriors just played, and now they got to play every second day for the first 5 games here against a deeper team. There's no doubt the Minnesota Timberwolves are deeper. They are younger, and they can board just like the Rockets did offensively, but then they can also score the ball, which the Rockets had problems with. So I think they've got all that depth, and Anthony Edwards leading a team here in this run. He said before the season that he expects and wants something for this Minnesota city to give them something to cheer for. And so, yeah, I'm riding with Ant and the depth on this team. I'm going 6.
Going 6.
Yeah.
Oh, man. The idea of picking against Curry is disgusting behavior to me. And for that reason and that reason alone, I'll take the Warriors. I'll go Warriors in 7. I'll have them winning on the road in Minnesota. But for all the reasons we talked through in this series, the Wolves are a better team. But the Warriors, no one has more experience than obviously like their 3 main guys. And Curry has played really well against them. And I just can't wait to see, like, I want them to almost like use Ant's like energy and FU aura. Can they like use it against them in a weird way, even through like comments after games and in the media and stuff like that? Like, it's like the guy won't back down from it. I mean, he likes it. He thinks it's such a fun part of the game, especially he's talked already about Draymond and all the trash he talks. So that'll be fun too. But I'll go Warriors in 7. These guys got Wolves in 6. Let's hear from you in the stream team. Who wins? How many games? X factors, all that good stuff.